Hey everybody, welcome to the Daily Drive-By, what is supposed to be a 5-day-a-week, 3 to 5 minute rant on politics and policies in the United States. A little present brought to you each day by commonsenseconversation.com, your go-to source for all things political. Today I'm going to do another one of my Republican candidate updates. Today, it looks like I'm not going to have to do Herman Cain. So today, next in line, is where it seems like all of Herman Cain's support is going to, Newt Gingrich. On policies, Newt Gingrich, I can't really talk about whether he's any good or not. He's good on some things, and he's bad on the same things. The man flip-flops more than a fish you just brought on board the boat. What I can talk about is principles. Newt Gingrich doesn't have any principles. Now, I'm not talking about the fact that he's been divorced and remarried. I'm not talking so many times. I'm not talking about that. People can make mistakes, and they can see the ways of their mistakes, and they can correct them. I'm not even talking about his being on both sides of a couple of policies, because you can change your mind on policies. What I am talking about is things like, who does he take care of? His Republican Party handlers or the people who elect him? I can talk about that. I can talk about whether Newt's principles truly have changed over the last 2 decades. Let's look at that one first. Let's talk about principles. He says he's a changed man. He says he's a 68-year-old grandfather who has seen the error of his ways, has converted to Catholicism, and is now a better person than he used to be. Well, I can believe that. I can believe you can change. I can believe you can become a different person than the person who gets married during the marriage ceremony, swears an oath of fidelity, breaks the oath and has a girlfriend, mistress, whatever you want to call her on the side, gets divorced from the wife and marries the girlfriend, and then repeats that. Gets another girlfriend on the side, divorces the second wife, and marries number 3. I can believe you can change from being a person like that. But you know, I'm a recovering alcoholic. I know a lot about change. I know what it takes to change. And one thing about change is you don't make excuses. When you make excuses for the way you did, that just means you hadn't changed. Because you can just go do it again and you'll just make another excuse. Chris Wallace on Fox News a few months ago asked Newt Gingrich about the accusations that would come up in his run for the presidency and his personal problems, specifically running around on 2 different wives and then marrying the girlfriends after you divorce the first 2 wives. Newt had an answer for that. He had an excuse for that. Newt said that when he did that, he was under a lot of pressure. After all, he was Speaker of the House, a position with power, a position with responsibility, a position with pressure. Newt had some pressure on him. So he ran around on his wife. That's his reason now. Or more accurately, that's his excuse. And it is a piss poor excuse. Pressure? Pressure lets you unzip your pants and drop your drawers at the drop of a hat? Well, in that case, every one of the boys that have come back from Afghanistan and Iran have free rein to run around on their wives and girlfriends. Just go screwing around any way they want to. They knew pressure. They were getting their asses shot at. Every cop that goes out and puts his life on the line every day wearing a badge that bad guys might shoot at, he's under some pressure a hell of a lot more than being Speaker of the House, where all you have to do is sit on your ass in a nice suit and tie in an air-conditioned room and vote yay or nay. That cop knows pressure. So I guess there's not a police officer in the United States who couldn't be excused for running around on his wife because of the pressure. Bullshit, Newt. That's what that was. It was a piss poor excuse. It wasn't a reason. It was an excuse. And as long as you make excuses, you'll do it again. Now let's talk about where his loyalties lie. A little over a year ago, Newt could have kept his mouth shut about the special election for the 23rd District of New York, a special election to fill a vacant seat. He could have just shut his mouth. After all, he's from Georgia, and he's not the Speaker of the House anymore. He could have just kept his damn mouth shut and let the people of New York just do what they wanted to do as far as electing somebody. But no, Newt's the smartest man in the world. Just ask him. And he had an opinion on who should be elected up there. Now, he wasn't going to back the Democrat. After all, the Democrat was pro-abortion, pro-union, anti-gun. Newt wasn't going to back them, so he was left with a choice between a Republican, and New York has a conservative party. That's the name of it, the Conservative Party. And he had a choice between the Conservative Party candidate and the Republican. The Conservative Party candidate had all the Republican hot buttons covered. Anti-abortion, pro-Second Amendment gun rights, anti-card check, anti-union. Sounds pretty Republican to me, but he's a member of the Conservative Party. And there was a Republican candidate. Pro-abortion Republican candidate, which means she wasn't really a Republican. Pro-union Republican candidate, which means she wasn't really a Republican. Anti-gun Republican candidate, which means she wasn't really a Republican. She was a fake Republican, but she had that GOP thing in front of her name. She had the support of the Republican Party of New York. Now, Newt had a choice. Well, he had a choice between three things. Number one, keep your damn mouth shut, Newt. That would have been the first choice, and that's what you should have done. But then you had a choice between a non-Republican Republican, a liberal Republican, a Republican spouting three main anti-Republican things: abortion, gun control, and pro-union, and a conservative that was pro-Second Amendment, anti-union, and anti-baby killing, because that's what abortion is. Abortion is nothing more than the murder of a baby. If you can't kill it 10 seconds after it comes out of the woman, why can you kill it 10 seconds before it does? Anyway, Newt had that choice. Now, who do you think Newt chose? Newt decided to go for the person with Republican in front of their name, but that wasn't really a Republican. The pro-union, pro-card check, anti-Second Amendment, pro-baby killing candidate. That's who Newt backed. Party over principles. Party over the people that representative would be supporting, would be representing. Newt has no principles. If you think that Newt Gingrich gives a rat's ass about anybody he represents, you're full of it. The only people Newt Gingrich cares for are the people that put money in his campaign pockets and Newt Gingrich. That's the only people Newt's going to take care of. That's all he ever has taken care of. That's all he ever will take care of. Newt Gingrich has no principles, and his loyalties rest solely to himself. So go ahead and vote for Newt Gingrich. Vote for a man who chooses party over principles, because he has no principles. That's going to be all for today, folks. And remember, every time you see an elected official, every time you see anybody gets a government paycheck, you remember, before you walk away from them, the last thing you tell them, the last thing, you look them square in the eye and you tell them, we don't work for you. You work for us. So y'all have a good day. You have a good week. There'll be some more coming this week. I'm not up to my 5 a week yet, but I'm getting there. And until I see you again, remember, y'all come back now. You hear?